Hey, if you're thinking about starting a dumpster roll-off business and need to raise some capital from investors or potential lenders and they've asked you for a set of financial projections, or just before you start and invest your own capital, you want to do some planning on what are the startup costs, what are the common operating expenses, and how much revenue can I generate in this business, and ultimately how much profit can I generate, then we have a template here that I think is going to be really helpful for you. My name is Adam Hoeksema. I'm the co-founder of Projection Hub, and we've helped thousands of entrepreneurs create financial projections over the last decade. And specifically here, we have built a template specific for the a dumpster roll-off dumpster type business model. And I want to walk you through this template here and answer any questions that you might have. So what I'm showing you here is kind of the culmination, the end of the process here. We're showing you our profit and loss at a glance table, some dumpster level data, some startup costs, funds, how you got the funds, sources of funds and uses of funds, and then some profitability graphs, break even, that sort of thing. And you'll also be able to see our cash flow statement, an income statement by year, and a balance sheet for all 5 years, as well as an income statement, cash flow, and balance sheet by month for all 5 years as well. Now, that's kind of the end. That's what we get to at the end. But to be able to get there, we have a number of assumptions that you'll have to enter in. And I've got some default data in here that I'm going to show you. So we're assuming for Adam's dumpster rental business, we are assuming a $50,000 personal investment, and we're going to add different fixed assets that we might have. Now, these are assets not available for rent. So we'll have the dumpsters available for rent, but these are things that we have in the business, like a warehouse for storage, and then trucks would be the types of things that you want to put in this fixed asset table. Now, here is an example of how we can enter in our inventory of dumpsters that we have available to rent out for others. And so what I've done here is I put in different types of dumpsters, 10 yard, 15 yard, 20, 30, and 40 yard dumpsters for year one. So these would be all the dumpsters that we purchase in year one and make available for rent. So we're saying over here that we're going to purchase 2 of these 10 yard dumpsters, and 1 15-yard and 1 20-yard. So maybe that's what we start with. We start the business with just 4 dumpsters, and we can see the purchase price here of those. And I've tried to find some estimates. I will say it has been difficult to nail down prices on these. I think the prices really ebb and flow with the market, and so you'll probably need to take a look at eBay or other sources to find prices, the day that you're looking to buy, because I think they can really dramatically change. But we have some estimates here of what they look like now. So then you can say what month was the dumpster purchase. So we're saying it was purchased in month 1, and that we borrowed to be able to purchase these. So what you'll notice in this equation here, what I'm doing is I'm saying purchase price of dumpsters $2,500 times 2 dumpsters that we bought, and then it's times 0.9. So in other words, we're borrowing 90%. We're going to have to put in 10% equity into the deal, but we're borrowing 90% of the cost of the dumpster. So that's the way this is working. Now, you might borrow 50%. You might borrow nothing. If you're not borrowing anything and you're just paying cash, then you would just put 0 in this loan amount. And then we have an interest rate of 8% and a 60-month term. And so you can enter in assumptions, and I've got assumptions here for all 5 years of the model that we're kind of adding new dumpster units each of the 5 years. You can see how that works. And then down here, I have an SBA loan that I'm expecting for $100,000 at 8% as well. And that's in addition to the financing I'm getting for the dumpsters individually. So that's really 2 separate things. Now, on the input revenue tab, This is piping in the dumpsters from the tab I just showed you. It's piping those all in. And then over here, well, I should mention that only the cells in blue are the cells that you want to change. So if it's not in blue, it means that data is coming from somewhere else and you don't want to overwrite that. See, this data is coming from the Input Assumptions tab. So on this tab, you'll only want to change the cells that are in blue. But here we're saying, okay, we bought this dumpster in month 1. When's it going to be available for rent? Okay, so we're saying that it's available for rent in month 3, that all of them will be available for rent in month 3. And then we have an average rent per dumpster per month. So this is if the dumpster was rented for the whole month, what would that cost? What would the price be? And then we're entering in a vacancy rate. And I may change this to say utilization rate. So basically what percentage of the time is this rented? So we're saying 50% of the time it's rented. Now, here we have a monthly revenue per set of dumpsters that's calculated. So we're remember here we're saying we have 2 dumpsters of this type. So that's where we're coming up with that number. 2 dumpsters could generate $1,400 a piece, but since there's a 50% vacancy rate, we're only generating half of that for each dumpster, so $700 per dumpster for a total of $1,400. And now we have the ability to add expenses on a per dumpster level. So we're saying there's going to be fuel costs for you to go pick up and drop off the dumpsters. There's going to be insurance costs, repair costs, and tipping fees or dump fees on a monthly basis. And these can vary dramatically depending on what types of product you're dumping or recycling it, or what you're doing with that. So the cost there can really be different, and also based on your location. So you need to do your own research on these numbers and make sure that these make sense, for your specific location and industry. But after all that, we're going to be able to have a total revenue per month per dumpster line item and total cost. And then we can put in our operating expenses. So rent, security, truck repairs, utilities, software expenses, payment processing fees. One thing I'll point out is there's some flexibility here that you can change these expenses as either a fixed expense, so it'd be the same dollar amount each month, or a per property. So this would be like per type of dumpster. So it'd be like the year 1 10-yard dumpsters, we might have an expense, or you could do a per unit. So we say, okay, we've got 3 units of the 10-yard. We're going to have to pay, maybe you have to pay insurance on a per unit basis or something. Maybe it's, maybe it's really cheap. Maybe it's $5 a month per unit, but you want to project per unit. In other words, per dumpster that you own. You have that flexibility here. And then you can do an expense as a percentage of revenue. And a good example of that would be a credit card processing fee that might charge 2 or 3% as a percentage of their revenue. And then lastly here, we can add our salaried position. So our drivers and office manager and that sort of thing all can be added into this page here. And then again, that's going to take you back to where we started here at the end, the profit and loss at a glance, where you're going to be able to see whether you're making money or not, how long it takes you to break even, and you can play around with the different numbers and the timing of when you add in dumpsters and really see what it's going to take to break even in cash flow in this business. You can access this template in the link in the video description below. And if you have any questions, leave us a comment in the comment section of the video, or reach out to us at support@projectionhub.com. Thanks.